the world and his wife has had their opinion about Sepp Blatter and his comments, and we'll come on to his comments in a second, but we want to make this balanced, because at the end of the day, we're not here just to vent anger at particular people. We're coming at this balanced. In 2002, to combat the rapid increase in footballers leaving their homeland for foreign shores, which subsequently created potential for the problem of racism to enhance, FIFA elected to act more aggressively against racism by passing the Buenos Aires Resolution in 2001. Some of the steps it has taken thereafter include: in 2002, FIFA started holding World Days Against Discrimination and Racism. Racism is a blight that we must eradicate forcefully and resolutely, said, ironically enough, Sepp Blatter. Football has a unifying power that can and must be used to combat discrimination of all kinds. That was from Blatter. 2002, celebrities joined FIFA's fight. FIFA enlisted the help of a number of football celebrities to campaign against racism in football, including Sir Bobby Charlton, Thierry Henry, Mia Hamm, Pele, Michel Platini and Lilian Thuram. In 2004, the Code of Ethics got approved. The FIFA Executive Committee approved the Code of Ethics, which included a statute that officials, players, and players' agents may not act in a discriminatory manner, especially with regard to ethnicity, race, culture, politics, religion, gender, or language. 2006, there was an amendment to Article 55 of the FIFA Disciplinary Code. The FIFA Executive Committee approved an amendment to Article 55 of the Disciplinary Code at the proposal of President Blatter, allowing for very strict sanctions to be imposed after acts of racism or discrimination in football. 2006, Say No to Racism campaign was launched by FIFA in April of 2006. Months later at the FIFA World Cup, large Say No to Racism banners were displayed prominently during the pre-match formalities, while anti-racism mini spots were made available for free to all TV broadcasters of the tournament. In 2007, 90 minutes for Mandela game, which was contested between an African and rest of the world 11 to aid the fight against racism. Over 35,000 watched the likes of Hullet, Weah, Butragueno and Samuel Eto'o in action, with millions more watching via television in more than 150 countries. In 2010, Anti-Discrimination Days at South Africa 2010 during the World Cup. The captains of teams playing South Africa 2010 quarterfinals on the 30th of June and July 1st, which were FIFA Anti-Discrimination Days, read pre-match pledges against racism. Football is more powerful than governments in breaking down racial barriers, said Nelson Mandela. It laughs in the face of all types of discrimination. Now, the reason why I say we needed to bring those things to the attention, because FIFA have done a bit in anti-racism, which makes these comments even more moronic. From Wednesday, 16th of November 2011, FIFA President Sepp Blatter insists there is no racism in football and claims any on-field issues between players should be settled by a handshake. I'm going to come back to something like this in the grassroots segment as well. But the FA are obviously currently dealing with the Suarez thing and have charged him. But asked if he thought there was any racism on the pitch, the FIFA president told CNN World Sport, "I would deny it. There is no racism. There is maybe one of the players towards another. He has a word or a gesture which is not the correct one. But also the one who is affected by that, he should say that this is a game. We are in a game, and at the end of the game, we shake hands, and this can happen because we have worked so hard against racism and discrimination. I think the whole world is aware of the efforts we are making against racism and discrimination. And on the field of play, sometimes you say something that is not very correct, but then at the end of the game is over, and you have the next game where you can behave better." Oh my good God. Or to coin a phrase, oh my giddy giddy gosh. To coin an old phrase. Oh, Sepp Blatter, I have called you a moron for years. For years, I have called this guy a moron, and he has gone beyond the Call of Duty. And I ain't talking about computer games. He has gone beyond the Call of Duty to prove me right. It's one of them ones. You can see Rants of the Week at youtube.com/Pitch Talk from as far back as February this year, where we're saying the guy's a moron, he's a corrupt moron, he needs to be replaced. Back in March, when Bin Haman was going to run against him for the FIFA presidency, we were congratulating that. Even me personally, I was like, thank God there's someone running against this moron, because we need to get him out. And at last, a comment like this has been said, and at last, people are finally waking up and realizing and being vocal in terms of trying to get this guy out. Whether it be the hashtag Blatter out on Twitter, whether it be Rio Ferdinand saying what he said, or whoever else, we're going to go into that, because FIF Pro slams clumsy Blatter on race from Thursday 17th of November. Players Union FIF Pro has become the first global body to publicly criticise Sepp Blatter over his comments on race, saying FIFA appears to have relaxed its fight against discrimination since the 2010 World Cup and calling its president clumsy. My word would be moron, but that's not new. That is not new. Listen to the podcast. That is not new. But the Players Union joined what has been a largely British reaction to Blatter's recent interviews, when the 75-year-old Swiss said there was no racism in football and that players involved in racist confrontations on the pitch should settle their differences with a handshake at the end of the match. FIF Pro has been fighting against racism for many years now, and tries to convince the football world of the fact that all men are equal, that racism does not belong to football nor society. In the past, FIF Pro successfully worked together with FIFA in the fight against racism, but since the World Cup 2010 World Cup in South Africa, FIFA has hardly made itself heard on this fight, which is rather sad. And that's a direct quote from the FIF Pro. The fact is, it's not sufficient to have both captains read out a declaration before the beginning of the match under the watching eye of the whole world, as was done before the quarterfinals of the 2010 World Cup. This battle is not so easy to win. The battle has to be fought continuously, and not only during the World Cup. Now, the thing is, Blatter's comments have gone and undermined the whole fight against racism. Blatter, you prats, you have gone with a couple of misguided, ignorant, stupid, borderline retarded, whatever you want to call them statements. Those statements have gone and undermined the great work of Kick It Out, of Football Unites Racism Divides, who work so hard to eradicate racism from the game. You're the head of world football. This is what gets me. This idiot is the head of world football, and he's showing not only unbelievable ignorance, but he's showing that he is blind to the issues that blight the game that he is supposed to be in charge of. He's supposed to be the shining light at the top of football, and he's in it. Oh, it beggars belief.